Good afternoon to you all, and I'm pleased to be here today to talk to you about my country. I don't know how to address you, maybe as a politician or as a civil servant or as an NGO person, but I will try and do as much as possible in the shortest time possible. Before I address you, I wanted to give you a few statistics about Uganda in relation to the progress that we have made. First of all, by the year 2009, the population of Uganda, because we should have had a census last year, but due to lack of funding, we were not able to have a census, and we'll have one this year. So the population was 30.6 million, and of that population, 51% are women, and of the total population, 88% are rural-based. So most women are based in the rural areas, so they actually are not exposed to a number of things. And then of this population, the average growth rate is 3.2, and nationally, in terms of economy, we have 2.7% growth. But we had experienced, at least having gone through a bad experience of inflation, down national economy and so forth, we were able to raise our economy to about 6.1 to between 6.1 and 6.9% growth. Now, the progress that we have managed to register is that we have a 90% school enrollment, and a large number of that school enrollment, especially at the elementary level, is girls. Then we have an increase in the rural water coverage, which is at 6.1%, and from this year in the national budget, we are raising money to increase on the coverage of the water in our country. And then we have a reduction in HIV/AIDS prevalence from 30% to 6%, and is even much lower if we did more figures, because Uganda has been at the head of the reduction of HIV, of the spread of HIV and AIDS, and we are controlling it through the provision of services, ARVs, condoms, which most people do not want to wear, especially the female condom, but at least we try and pass on that and prevent that. We're improving on the health services, especially malaria. Malaria is one of the greatest diseases in our country, and right now the government is launching a program to provide mosquito nets to every person in every single family countrywide, such that by the end of this financial year, everyone will have at least a mosquito net. The unfortunate thing is that the rural people are using those mosquito nets to do other things, but we are encouraging them to use them on the bed to prevent themselves from malaria. What they are doing is to use them to secure areas where they are growing chicken, and of course this is the chicken that we are giving to them to increase their household income, so that, to protect them from the wild animals and eagles. Others are using it for fishing, and in the process they fish immature fish, which is also against the environment and so forth. I'm reducing on the statistics. Then the mortality rate, the infant mortality rate reduction has taken place, because it has reduced. It's about 87% per 1,000. It used to be, and now we've reduced it to 76% per 1,000 in the last census that was taken. And then the mortality rate is going down, but it's still very slow. So having done that, I would like to tell you that Uganda ratified CEDAW in 1985, but that was not this current government, that was the old government. But when the CEDAW was ratified in Uganda, I must inform you that the current government, which is the NRM, was in the bush fighting there were rebels. And in that rebel struggle, many women were used, not just to collect water, provide comfort for the soldiers and so forth, but they were actually fighters fighting for the peace and stability of our country. And you can see it from when they came out of the bush, they were rewarded, and we have very high-ranking soldiers, up to the level of generals in our country, who are women. And for that, we recognize that women are at least recognized for the struggles that they do. And every year, there are awards that are being given to women to recognize the struggle, their participation in the struggle. So after this current government came into power, there are a number of things that they have done to enable women. And the most important thing is to enable women to speak out. Of course, around 1985, I was young. I don't think I may have noticed many things, but one thing I know is that I can speak out. And the president that I serve, I was able to disobey him in 2005, when we were amending the Constitution. One of the key things I did was to fight against term limits, and I still stand my ground on term limits, but I still go ahead and serve the president who wants unlimited terms. So that's the kind of thing. You speak out, negotiate, and then move on. And that's one of the things that our country has been able to do. So when it comes to the MD, I wanted to talk a bit about the MDGs and then talk about what we've done with CEDAW. So I'll briefly run through the MDGs and what Uganda has been able to do in relation to women. And then you can help us on some of the things that we haven't been able to achieve. We can discuss and see what else we can do. When it comes to the eradication of extreme poverty and hunger, hunger is not a problem in our country. I come from a country which is environmentally rich and fertile. I mean, the area I come from is even extremely fertile. That's why you can see we are gifted by nature. When you see a woman my size, that means you're gifted by nature. That's because we're able to grow food and eat healthy, what we call healthy. And we are able to export. So we are concentrating on moving the women from being subsistence farmers into extensive farmers by combining their farmland, and that way they can do plantation farming and plant coffee, plantains, fruits, and so forth. And then at their local centers, we are promoting industrialization so that they can be able to package and be able to export or trade in the food, and government is going to be able to support them. But there are also limits because we do not have the adequate funding, and there are still a few limits here and there. We've been in relation to achieving productive employment and decent work for all. We're still stagnant on that. But what government has done is we have what we call SACCOs, the small the banking system, where people put together their incomes and are able to rotate the funding so that they can encourage the women in their groups to support their small projects. And from those projects, they're able to employ themselves in groups and do some work that can earn them some money.